So what I wanted to show you is how to take your drawing from Illustrator, and in this case, this sketch is all based up off of vector lines. It's a pretty clear-cut image, and I'm going to take all of them over, but just to show you how to use a little bit of Photoshop and Illustrator in combination. So Command 0 just to take it to this picture. So is what you would do is take these images, copy them, and I have Command Tab where I can toggle through the software that I have open. So Photoshop will pop open. And this is one that I've already brought into the window just to show it to you. And I'll demonstrate it. But it's a clipboard file. So when you copy something, it goes to the clipboard. And when you create a new file, it'll create it to the actual length and width of this, or the width and the height of the clipping image that you took. That's why you can see it's touching on all four sides, the actual part of the image. So Command Tab, I'm in Photoshop, I'm going to go right back into Illustrator to show this to you. So this is all grouped together. I could always just take one of these characters and bring it over, and I'll show you that too. But just to show you that I have it selected, I just move it, and Command Z to put it back exactly where it is, and just go to Copy, and this copies it to the pasteboard. I come back to Photoshop, and not to confuse anything, I'll delete this one. So this is the image that I now have into Photoshop right here. So I go to File, New, and the window pops up for a new window of Photoshop. And the item on the left is showing me that the clipboard is this dimension in pixels at 72 pixels per inch, PPI. And that'll work for now. I'm just going to raise this to 300, just in case I want to use this for a printed piece. The higher resolution is going to give me that 300 pixels per inch. CMYK is fine, but you have the option of all these different color modes. RGB is usually one that comes through, and then as you tile through this, you can see it's vertical, horizontal, that type of thing. So I'm going to create, and I have the guides on just temporarily, but it shows all of the spacing for this. And as soon as I go to File, Paste, or Edit Paste, it's going to give me this little window, and this will come through because it's going to allow you to paste this in as a smart object, as pixels, as a path in Photoshop, and a shape layer. And I would suggest that you try all four just to see what it does. Pixels gives you the image that you can start painting right away. Smart Objects allows you to bring the image and then also able to edit that image just by clicking it, and it goes back to its native format file. A path is just the images turned into path, and then the shape layer creates the actual layer that's kind of masked off with the compound shape. But I'm just going to click on Pixels, and you'll see it comes through. It has a little X box. Check it off, yes or no. So I'm just going to click OK. The view under this for the grid, showing the grid right here, is Command and a comma right there. And right there you can see that this image is there. And if I zoom into it, see some of the pixelation, but there it's touching the edges all the way around. So that's what I'll have you do. But then once you want to Command zoom out of this, if I want to make this image canvas size bigger, the easiest way to do it is to take the crop tool, which is located right here. All the tools have the letter right after it. Tells you what the keystroke is. And as soon as I hit crop, it gives me these images here that I can change and crop this image and expand it, make it a little bit bigger. Since I did make it 8.5 by 11, I want to give a little bit of space around the edges just to show it to you. And then go ahead and click OK. And now I have this image, which is just the lines. The pixels are transparent. I have a white background, and that gives me that entire segment right to go. Okay. If I do this again and go to New, it's going to give me the same option of clipboard. But if I don't want that, I have all these options at the top for Photoshop and as well as Illustrator. And usually the one that's easiest to go to is Print, because that automatically gets you a piece of paper. Traditional 8.5 by 11 at 300 pixels per inch. Horizontal, RGB color scope, and I print scheme, and I hit create, and I do the same thing. This time, when I click it in as pixels, it's not that big. It fits the proportions right here, and it gives me this outside background right there. And this gives me the image. And I can scale this. Keep in mind that it's all twisted. If I hit the Shift key, it'll keep it in proportion. And I can place it all the way in there and hit OK. So two options in which way to do this, and it gives you that selection. Okay? Don't save this one, just kind of keep it open. So what I want you to do is when you place that in there, is to just show you, say, well, if this image is here, if I don't want this, there's the selection tool of the magic wand. I can take most of this off. If I drag this around and hit delete, it deletes whatever within that selection, and undo or deselect with the command key. So I want you to just take one of these characters and illustrate it in color. You can leave them all there, you can do all of them, but just give you the practice of creating one of these guys. And this is the, these little lasso tool is letting me select this. So if I select it like so, hit delete it. If I go inside all the tools, it has a Polygon Lasso, which is a straight line that I clicked. And you can see that when I do that, and just hit delete, and then deselect. So select, deselect is just Command D. A lot of the keystrokes you're gonna see as they kind of come across into that mode, and that gives me that selection. Okay. If you double click the hand tool, it puts it down at 0, so there's a lot of extra pieces that you can come across. Okay. The move tool allows you to move things around. This guy moves around, and scale him if I want to, make him a little bigger. But just remember, the pixelation, when you take something small and make it large, it starts to pixelate. You're trying to always go larger, most resolution, into the smallest part. Okay? So that's the first part. And then the second part is to take and lay over a new layer, double-click to get the title, and just type in color. And did before with the paint bucket tool is probably one of the easier ones to go through. The control panel up here has all the different items. When you go through this, and as soon as you click, it'll fill that color, and it's on a separate layer. Okay, and you have all the colors to choose from as you go through it. So it's trying to get you to take a look at those color palettes. So you can pick everything from here all the way through here, and just start to go in. However you interpret this color is up to your approach. So you can see those particular items there. So just kind of taking a look at these timberline boots here. And this bucket, you can zoom in with the Option key. You can see the image illustrated all the way across. And it'll give you a little bit of a look to it. And again, if you leave something white, it'll just be a transparent pixel. So you're trying to get everything colored in there. And again, you've gone from some of the drawings that I've given you to your drawings, and going back and forth, trying to give you as much practice through this to learn Photoshop and give you that particular approach. So here it is as a color image. And all the tools that you can use, there's another one in here, the dodge and burn. Dodge is lightning, burn is darkening. You can click on this, and you can see it's going to darken all of these colors. You can see it's on highlights, exposures at 23. You can change it to midtones and shadows, so you have a little bit of approach to it that way. And this way you can adjust shading. So there's all different ways to kind of shade something into this. And the brush option with the bracket keys makes it larger or smaller, so you can actually adjust this. And if you see nothing's happening with the dodge and burn, it's because you have it on a mid-tone highlights of corner pieces. The other option is to take a layer above this color, right in between the two, hold the Option key and click, and that gives you, it traps all the colors. So now I can take the paintbrush, the brackets are a little bit large, the opacity is up here, all the controls for everything, and you can see that the brush is there, and the options here, they have all these different things to get involved with. This is just a soft edge brush. The bracket key makes it smaller or larger, and this allows you to paint right on there. I can take the eyedrop tool, grab that local color right there, click on it, find it on the color palette in the picker, and change the values of it that way, and then just take the brush. So some of this you've known, and it goes through that particular piece, depending on if you want to grab that in there. This is trapped within this shape layer, and this is the path tool. Okay? So take a look at that. Again, just kind of review it. I'm just Command Tab going right back to Illustrator. This is the image. So you're just going to edit, copy it. Command tab right back to Photoshop. Here's one image up at the top. I'm just going to go to File, New. And in this case, I'm going to go into the print mode. Here it is, horizontal 300. Click Create. And if this comes out vertical, you can always change that image. You have canvas size, image rotation. Just go to clockwise. And now I just go to Edit, Paste. Here it comes in. I'll keep it as pixels just to keep it started. Click OK. Here it is on its own layer. A new layer above it. The brush tool, and that allows you to start coloring it in there. So some of the keystrokes help. Remember, if you're painting everything, contiguous is turned off. Contiguous means wherever you click, whatever's next to it is the one that's going to be the part that you color for. Okay? So give that a try with the section.